Good morning, welcome to Down at the Barns. We're very excited today because we're here, look at the Stag one more time and see the progress that's been made. We've got Nick and Les behind me. Okay, so how's it going?
Well, what can I say? It's been a very busy couple of weeks, huge progress made, and we're on a bit of a deadline because as we film this, we're on the Friday, and on Monday the vehicle needs to go off back up to Jason's. So have the bonnet, boot and the doors all fitted. We needed the weight in the car so that the chassis settles down and we can get the gaps right. So Nick and the team have worked really hard to get most of the weight bearing parts into there. There's some to go, but we'll make allowance for that when we get up to Jason's.
So where are we at then, Nick? What have you been up to?
Playing with batteries, really. We've built the front battery and the rear battery, so they are complete. They're in the car, and obviously the motor was already installed underneath the car. We've got the charger and the inverter in there too on the frame. I think we've shown you the frame before, but that's all in there now. It's probably not in there for the last time. We will take it out again just to do the final connections around it all and everything. But essentially, as Les said, it was more about getting all the weight in the right place in the car. So I think we've achieved that. We've also managed to do things like running the high voltage cables underneath the car. So from the rear battery to the front battery, the cables into the inverter, and a lot of the cabling for the heater. So the heater's actually. So Les, he says that we've done most of the work. He hasn't, right? Les has actually completely rebuilt the HVAC system, and we can show you around that because that's kind of ready to go in. There's a couple of small pieces to go. We spent a lot of time with Classic Retrofit. They're supplying the AC system for the car and the heating system. So we spent a lot of time with Johnny understanding how that works. I think we've shown you that we had the compressor already installed, but we've now got evaporator, heater, all inside the HVAC, and we've done a lot of the cabling to that now. It's really just putting the control system together.
Yeah, and it's really neat, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah, it works really well. So yeah, I mean, we just got to, clearly there's a lot of AC lines that need to run around the car, so that's probably the next challenge. The one bit that we haven't done, and we do need to focus a little bit on, is getting the charge port in. We're going to put CCS charge port under the bonnet, so that's being designed at the moment, and we'll get that all.
We talked about it last time. You have to have the bonnet up to charge. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean that's all around not cutting any more holes in the body or anything, right? Just from a DVLA point of view, we don't want to touch anything like that. So I'm doing that as well. And
you fitted at the front here. There's some really nice LED lights, which is great. The front here, all fitted in, which is nice.
Yeah, the car has a complete set of LED light fittings now, right from the headlights all the way back through the dash, the tail lights. Everything's gone LED.
Yeah.
So gradually, as we put them in, they'll get swapped over. All the indicators and that start to go in.
Right. So Nick, what have we got at the back here?
It's pretty simple, really. We've got 6 modules inside a box with all the control system in there for it, the BMS and the contactors. But essentially, that's all ready to go. We haven't sealed it up yet. We thought we'd leave that until we had the whole system up and running, but then we'll seal that in there. But it's bolted in. So we've bonded the mounts in.
Yeah.
And then obviously just done it up. And this is the high voltage cables running through some original holes in the back there with a couple of glands on to keep it all watertight.
This situation with the battery, and this is going to still have this boot space though, isn't it? You still have
the original
space. That's what's nice about it.
Yeah, the original boot sits on here.
Yeah.
Right. So the fuel tank was attached by these 3 points, and then the spare wheel sat here, right?
Yeah.
That's what this indentation is.
So it's quite a nice, unlike some of the other ones we've done, but that actually's got quite a bit of space in it. It's quite good, isn't it?
Well, you don't lose any of the original boot space. If anything, you gain a bit.
You could do,
but
the original floor comes off of these brackets up here, so it will do the
same. So there'll be some sort of compartment to get into that area.
Yeah. The floor always lifted. It was actually in 2 sections. It will be
exactly the same as before.
Yeah.
And how's the sound system going on this? Because you've been talking about organising. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's all part of the loom that we'll speak about up on the wall. So the space to the left-hand side, as we look at from the rear, has been left for the amplifier. We've changed tack a little bit because absolutely no holes is the mantra that we've got. There was originally a box designed for that corner and a pipe that went out through this area where the soft top is, and we've checked that with the guy that's doing the soft top, and we've got room for the pipe, but we're really not confident in getting the sound from a box here out to the exhaust. So we've changed tack, and Nick and I have sourced a speaker system that's designed to go underneath the car.
Right.
The amplifier will remain in the same spot, but instead of running a pipe and trying to pipe sound out, we're going to run a cable, and then we'll drive the speaker directly underneath the car.
That's going to be very interesting.
So we're waiting for them to turn up, and when they do, then they've got to be packaged underneath the vehicle, so that'll be interesting.
Let's talk about Spaghetti Junction over there, shall we?
So what's right? The bird's
Spaghetti Junction, the bird's nest, yeah. Let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah, there's been a lot of detailed work going through every single cable that was in the original car to see if we can reuse it. So, for example, there is a cable that comes up to the fuel light. The original fuel light, which used to come from the sender at the back, that told me, you know, you're less than a quarter of a tank, brings on a red light. So we've repurposed that, and Nick and the control system will now go into that connector, and we'll use the original loom to get to that light. And instead of course fuel, got no fuel, my fuel now is electrons, and so when Nick gets to 25% or 20% battery, some figure that we set, then the fuel light will come on. So very much a sort of hybrid loom, if you want, between the new stuff coming out of the control system and the original, using the original loom where we can.
And you probably need to get a picture of the wall over there, because we actually built the loom on the wall. We took it off there just a couple of days ago, but it gives you an idea of the size of this loom in the car and the complexity, because Les has got everything under the sun on the car.
Yeah, it looks very scientific up there, doesn't it? It does, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's like the solar system.
That's more complex than that.
It's more complex than that, yeah. Well, it's Monday morning, we're back here at the barns, and behind me here is the Stag, ready to be taken back to Braintree to have the doors, the bonnet and the boot put back on to get to the next stage of this incredible journey with this car.
Okay, so we're got the car back up here to Classic and Sports Car, and Jason and the guys here will now doors, boot, bonnet will all go back on, and we'll be back up here in a bit to pick up the car again and get it back to the barns for the final fit out of the electrics. So don't forget, subscribe, and if you've got any comments, stick them at the bottom of the video.